Hi, it's Michael Dermer with you again, and in this lesson we're going to talk about what is selling. You know, every single business, whether you're going to consumers or going to businesses, has to generate revenue and sales. So we're going to talk a lot about, what does it actually mean to sell? Okay, so let's see what it takes. What is selling? There's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that this whole idea of being a salesperson is really scary to them. So think about whether you're a technology developer, a doctor, a fashionista, right? Any of those people have a skill, right? And they may love what they do, but the idea of selling is really something that makes them almost wash their mouth out, okay? I can tell you that as running a company, if it's just you or your company is fortunate enough to grow, you as the leader always have to be selling, right? If you're not selling your concept, nobody else will. So what does that actually mean? What does it mean to sell? Okay. First is something called prospecting. Okay. Prospecting means you have to try to find the types of people that might buy your product or service. Okay. If you think about marketers try to target people with their specific products and services, what we talk about prospecting is how do I figure out the universe of people, right, that might buy my service? Remember, for every 10 people you go to, one might buy your product. So you have to prospect. Remember where the term comes from. It comes from actually from people in the gold rush in the middle of the 1800s going out to California to kind of prospect to find gold. What you're trying to do is find that universe of customers that might be eligible to buy or appropriate to buy your particular product. Then you've got to reach out and contact these customers. And the way that you do that is really, really important. It is really true that you only get one chance to make a first impression. So the email that you send, right? The way that you reach out to them, the phone call that you might make, right? The way you might meet them face to face. That first presentation to that prospect, right, is super important for setting the tone for you as a sales professional, okay? Next is what they call qualification, right? So you've got this universe of prospects, right? You've found them, but then you have to qualify them. You have to say, well, of the 10 that I've reached out to, right, are there 5 or 6 that actually have a need for my product or service, right? They've actually expressed an interest in my product or service. So when you quote unquote qualify them, right, you're boiling them down to the specific characteristics that show, hey, these might be some people that might be interested in product or service. If you think about the way apps do this today, think about dating apps, right? They're helping you qualify, right, people that you might be interested in. The same is true when you're qualifying customers, right? So we've prospected, we've made contact with them, we're qualifying the ones that we think might be appropriate for our product or service. Right? Next is somehow we're going to have some way to present to them, right? That might mean for a consumer, we're marketing to them, right? We're going to send them a marketing message. It might mean in selling to a business, we're actually going to make a presentation, right, about our capabilities of our product and service, right? And that's where we've really said, of the people that I've qualified, right, how am I going to make my mark? How am I going to make an impact on them so they go, wow, I'm actually willing to learn more, right, about this particular product or service, okay? Along that way, you're also going to have to develop a skill that's called handling objections, right? And this is one that's particularly hard for entrepreneurs because, when we build our product, we're passionate about it, we believe in it, we think it's unique, right? Imagine somebody walking into our restaurant and not liking the food, okay? Or saying, well, why is it that you paired that particular glaze, right, with that particular piece of meat, okay? Think of handling objections not as negative or criticisms, but you actually figuring out a way to actually get your customer to be a customer. If they tell you the things that are potentially wrong, right? Or that the price is too high, right? Or it's not bundled the right way, right? Or the side dish doesn't go with that particular meat the right way, you actually have the ability to get closer to them being a customer. Imagine if they never told you. So a lot of people view handling objections and getting objections as a negative. It's actually a way to go that last mile to get your prospect to potentially be a customer, okay? And then finally is bringing it home, okay, and closing the sale, right? And a lot of times people don't like to do this, but let me just have you take a little different perspective on it, okay? I was working with a fitness company where a lot of the people in the company were the actual fitness instructors. And they felt really uncomfortable asking the people that came to classes to buy things. And I asked them to think of it like this. Do you believe that your classes have value? If you believe your classes have value, but there's, in this case it happened to be for women, but there's a woman 2 miles away that's sitting at home that's not able to take advantage of that value, wouldn't it be great for her if you ultimately communicated to her that they could take advantage of this class and feel better and exercise and be healthier? But she just doesn't know about it yet. So if you really believe in what you're doing, like most of us do as entrepreneurs, don't think of it as selling, right? Just think of it as those people having the opportunity to take something that's really good for them. Finally, now you've closed sales, right? You've got customers, right? You're excited about that, but those customers can be your greatest source of new customers, right? And they can refer new people to you, right? So imagine if somebody said, wow, I went to that fitness class and I had an amazing experience. So you selling doesn't end when someone becomes a customer. Now you get to bring in new prospects, and those new prospects might come to the table saying, wow, I heard you're already great, okay? So think of all those steps along the way as really what it means to sell. It's not just this conceptual idea. There's a bunch of very simple steps when put together become an actual sales process. Okay, so we've talked about this thing called sales and this sales process. Here's just a couple of tips to keep in mind. First of all, selling is 60% listening, right? 40% talking. You want to understand what your potential customer wants and needs. They don't want to hear you talk. You'll have plenty of time to talk if you can help them solve their problem. So really listen more than you talk. Next is, what is your message? What message are you delivering? And so I'd think of it this way. Your message has to come out in 2 sentences, right? If you can't communicate the value of what you're bringing to the table in 2 sentences, you shouldn't do it. Think about when somebody's offering something to you. You want them to be able to understand you and quickly get to the point about how it actually helps them. Next is, remember, customers, whether they be businesses or consumers, care about their business and themselves, not about you. Okay, so all of your message actually has to align to what is important to them, right? And what they need and what they want and the problems that they're having. And sometimes we get so wrapped up in what we're doing, right? When you're selling a home to somebody, right? It's not about your commission or your process. It's about where they're going to live for the rest of their lives. So remember, it's always about them. It's not about you. Finally, selling is really about relationship building. And that relationship is a function of, number one, your reputation, which will always precede you, right? Your reputation will always shine through, good or bad, in your relationships with customers. And ultimately, the really solid sales professionals and the entrepreneurs that are able to grow businesses, they grow great relationships, okay? As you grow those relationships and you build trust, selling doesn't seem like this chore that oftentimes it can seem like to a young entrepreneur. Okay? Thanks for listening. Remember, in addition to this video, we've got detailed information on a lot of these tips in the selling process side by side with the videos you can find and access at any time.